We're on a rescue boat right now with Orange County firefighters, and we want to show you what we're seeing because it's certainly devastating to look at, and it's a lot to wrap your heads around. Right now we're in an Orla Vista neighborhood, and it's just covered with water. And firefighters, we can see National Guardsmen as well. National Guardsmen and women have been out here for hours and hours. Folks checking in, seeing if anyone needs to be rescued. I'm not sure if you can see there's a gentleman who's wading through the water. Part of what first responders are dealing with is some people, they'll offer them a ride and they're going at it on their own. So they have been really making their laps, checking in on folks. And I'm told firefighters at the very least estimate they've rescued some 100 people. That's not including a sheriff's office emergency response team. That's not including National Guard as well. So the numbers here, we could even potentially be seeing more than what we saw during Hurricane Irma when it flooded to this extent. And at that point, some 150 people were rescued. And we're learning that Orange County firefighters alone rescued estimated 100 people. So I gotta tell you, it's a little tough and it is a little emotional being out here and seeing all of this. Just to kind of express what we're looking at, we not too long ago saw where we were yesterday, and it's just a totally different picture. So we'll send it back to you guys as we continue to make our way through the neighborhood and as these brave men and women continue to rescue folks from their homes. That water, a lot of it coming from flooding from the St. Johns River. And I want to point us to that yellow house in the distance. That's where sheriff's deputies tell me is the St. Johns River line. So you can imagine the flooding from Nicole pushed it over the edge and brought the water here. And the county's director of emergency management tells me that we were already dealing with moderate flooding from Hurricane Ian. And so Nicole really brought us to this major flood stage level, that next flood stage, and it brought it over to the edge. And we're seeing a difference from yesterday when our crews were here. There was not ankle level water where we're at now. The water was further back, but now we're dealing with some road closures in the area because of the flooding. So we've seen sheriff's deputies make their way through here. We've seen firefighters make their way through, and really they're just kind of checking in, making sure the homes are doing okay. We've been told that power is out to the area. The county did not put power out, so at this point we don't know whether the power companies decided to put the power out as a precaution because of the flooding or whether there was a downed tree. We're working to get more details on that. But at this point, the DEM director tells me that if you're seeing flooding in the area, something we've been repeating, something they're repeating, turn around, don't drown, you gotta be safe. And they're warning people not to go deep into standing water just because us being so close to the St. Johns River, you don't know what's in the water. So something to keep in mind for folks here. Reporting live in Astor, Rebecca Turco, Spectrum News.
Rebecca, that road, wow, I'm looking behind you. It's incredible. It looks more like a river.
It does look more like a river. And right now, we're maybe some 2 blocks from the actual river, and we're dealing with ankle-deep water, but the flooding is even further back. That yellow house in the distance there, I'm told that's right at the St. Johns River line. This is an area really where flooding had still been subsiding since Hurricane Ian, but then Nicole came. What looks like a river is actually Lynn Moody's driveway, his yard overtaken by floodwaters, first from Hurricane Ian and now Nicole.
It's not just like the water sits in a tub and comes up like this. It spreads out and rises. So that's a boating term, that's a boatload of water.
Water seeping through so much of his yard to his boat barn, but thankfully not his house. He says it flooded some from Hurricane Ian, but not much. He's thankful knowing others have it worse now.
A lot of people I know and stuff, you know, especially between here and the river, they've got water in their house. I mean, they're actually kind of devastated. You know, some don't have, you know, flood insurance.
Lynn says his flooding from Ian had finally dried up when Nicole hit. Houses closer to the river weren't so lucky. The county's director of emergency management tells us it'll take time to get back to normal here. It's not an area you can pump.
Even before Hurricane Nicole came through, the floodwaters were receding pretty slowly, so I think the expectation is for that to continue.
So now it's a waiting game for Lynn and so many others. He's just glad his home is okay. He can't imagine living anywhere else.
It would be easier probably to list things that I don't like versus things that I do like.
Now, the National Weather Service recorded the river level around 2 hours ago at 4.3 feet. That is major flood stage. It has subsided a bit in the past few hours. The normal river level here is less than 2 feet. Reporting live in Astor, Rebecca Turco, Spectrum News. Now those people's homes are virtually inside out. Their belongings are out on their front lawns. They're salvaging what they can, throwing out the rest. And as you can see, the cleanup is far from over.
It's going to mildew.
Sorting through a household of memories is a lot to unpack, not just physically.
I did save our family quilt, so that was nice. That was the only thing I was able to save out of my grandma's hope chest.
Barbara Vola's home flooded post-Hurricane Ian. She says the water started rising Thursday evening, sticking around through Friday night. She shows us how high it went out in her back room.
And I was slogging through that Thursday night.
When you've lost just about everything, the sentimental things hold such value. Those are the hardest to lose.
It's just overwhelming to lose so many things. And so many things that can't be replaced, like my mom's pictures.
The storm even took Barbara's beloved banana tree. She brought it from her old place when she moved here in 2015. She says her home wasn't in a flood zone then. She learned a few years later that changed when the maps were redrawn. But growing up in Florida, living through her share of hurricanes here, she didn't see the need for flood insurance.
This is unprecedented. Nobody could have foreseen this.
Barbara says the insurance adjuster came out yesterday and determined it's all flood damage. They won't cover a thing, not even the $50,000 kitchen remodel she just finished in April. So she's trying to make the most of it, salvaging what she can, grateful for help from loved ones along the way.
You do what you have to do, and you get through.
Barbara says she's applied for a disaster loan and that a friend of hers even set up an online fundraiser to help her out through all of this. She says she's staying with some friends in the meantime, staying at their house as she figures out what's next. Reporting live in New Smyrna Beach, Rebecca Turco, Spectrum News. Samuel Hunt enters what used to be his home, and before you even see the damage, you can smell it.
Oh, it hits you, takes your breath away.
He walks us through, shows us the watermarks that go past his knees. He and his wife left almost 3 weeks ago, just before the flooding. The carpets are still wet from it.
Everything is saturated with this water, everything. And that's what you're stepping on, even after all these days, the curtains, the windows being up.
The 425-acre senior living community is along the southern banks of Shingle Creek. Heavy rain from Hurricane Ian flooded the lower-lying homes here, just like during Hurricane Irma. Today, we've learned units in just about 6 neighborhoods won't be repaired. The Society's VP of Operations tells me nearly half those residents have chosen to terminate their lease. Any units not repaired are expected to be demolished. In the meantime, they're working with residents to get them help through FEMA, the Red Cross, and other agencies.
They seem to be pretty happy down there, don't they?
Samuel shows us the mold damage in every room. He's hoping for FEMA assistance so he and his wife can get new furniture. They just signed a lease for a place in Orlando. They, like so many seniors here, are on a fixed income.
I mean, I could almost cry because of what we lost. I mean, I'm 70, my wife's 73. And, you know, you never expect something like this.
Now, a mandatory evacuation is still in place for the community here, and we've learned the county is working to inspect the structures here and obtain any permits necessary to do so. Reporting live in Kissimmee, Rebecca Turco, Spectrum News.